Alafia, it's Ia Owini Unfiltered Patreon exclusive edition. Yes, this is an exclusive podcast episode for my patrons. So thank you so much for being members of my Patreon. I greatly appreciate your support. It allows me to continue to do work like this and make even more of my services accessible to more groups of people. So I really do appreciate your contributions to the cause, to the temple, to the work itself. But let's get into why we're here today, which is the upcoming summer solstice. So the summer solstice is quickly approaching. It will officially be here the evening of June 20th, actually going into June 21st. So let's talk about what the summer solstice actually is. So the summer solstice occurs when the sun reaches its peak in the sky. And this typically marks the beginning of Cancer season. Shouts out to all my Cancer sun, moon, and rising people. This is considered to be the longest day of the year and the shortest night of the year. It is a time of balancing of our masculine and feminine energies. And from the Earth's perspective, the northern hemisphere is tilted closest to the sun. So this is part one of a two-part series about the solstice. Part one, this one, is where I'm going to briefly touch on the summer solstice through African spiritual lenses, because that is what we do here. So even though Estival is primarily practiced from a European lens, it does not mean that other cultures and other indigenous practices don't have anything, since most other indigenous practices do have a relationship with nature and thus the seasons and fluctuations that happen within the changing of the seasons and things of that nature. So I'm going to briefly touch on what the summer solstice does look like through an African spiritual lens. Part two, we're going to get into the astrology because I pulled what the chart looks like, where the planet's at the moment of the summer solstice. Then on Patreon, I'm going to do a post for you, a special summer solstice ritual. It is going to be a three-part ritual because the summer solstice kicks off a 3-month series. So the ritual is going to be designed in a way to help you build up that energy that is basically coming to you with this next 3-month cycle of the summer season. It is specially cultivated to honor the energy that we're going to discuss throughout these first two parts. And this is a personal ritual. So it's not like you have to figure out when you need to join me. I am posting the ritual for you to be able to do on your own. And of course, you can modify it as you'd like or do it straight on your own. Look to see, if you're looking to see rather, what this 3-month shift means for you. What's changing? What are you transforming? What are you transmuting? What are you illuminating? Feel free to book a special summer solstice divination with me, and we could specifically discuss what this summer solstice means for you. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's talk about the summer solstice through African and African rooted traditions. So we're going to start in ancient Kemet, also known as ancient Egypt. So the summer solstice was aligned with the heliacal rising of Sirius or Sopdet, which preceded the annual flooding of the Nile. And this was a time of fertility, rebirth, and abundance. Some of the energies or divine divinities that are associated with this are Hapi, which is the spirit of the Nile flood and prosperity, and Osset, who also has a relationship with Sirius, divine mother energy, resurrection, intuition, etc. Some ritual practices that are done would be things like leaving offerings near the river, prayers for abundance and spiritual insight, and celebrations of Zepi Tepi, excuse me, Zep Tepi, or first time, symbolizing cosmic renewal. This one is the one of the most clearly aligned ones, meaning it's very much, very specifically seems like it is a summer solstice ritual and is rooted in cosmic and agricultural flora. In Yoruba land and other West African areas, this is about time cycles. So in West Africa, obviously they don't use the Gregorian calendar. It's basically about what's happening, the natural flow of Earth and natural cycles. So this includes moon phases, harvest seasons, festivals, etc., like that. So though there isn't something from a West African lens that says, hey, we're celebrating the solstice, this time of year does coincide with many agricultural and festivals. So for a good example would be that the beginning of June is the Ifa New Year. And this celebration can last from days to weeks to sometimes even months, celebrating the start of the new year, getting new insight from Ifa about what is to come for the year ahead. There are lots of offerings given at this time of year as well. There's also a good time when Orisha festivals can be kicked off that are close to this time of year. This is also the rainy season. And so it's a time of spiritual clearing and initiation. And it's a good time for initiation season. There are many lineages that are home in West Africa that may do initiations and other ceremonies during this particular time of the year because it's a transition from planting things to a growth season. So then we have the Akan or the Asante in Ghana, and they have the Ade festivals. The Aquasede, please excuse mispronunciation, and Awukude festivals. Um, though they're on a 6-week lunar cycle, they often align near the equinoxes and the solstices. And these are days of ancestor veneration, purification, and offerings at stools and shrines. Seasonal shifts are times to consult the deities and the ancestors for direction. And these days were also used to confer blessings upon the people and realign royal energies. So, a practice echoing the solstice crown themes that are associated with Estival. The Dogon or the Mali people, they are the cosmic timekeepers. The Dogon are renowned for their deep cosmology, including recognition of Sirius, the solstice, and equinox period without Western telescopes. Their agricultural and spiritual calendar honors solar, lunar, and stellar alignments. Farming cycles, masks, and rituals of transition are time for celestial events. Their solstice understanding is less about celebration, but more about cosmic orientation and ancestral knowledge keeping. Now, let's get into the diaspora and what we have here as it relates to things like hoodoo, African derived religions, and other Pan African observances. So, the solstice is seen as a power day. And so, things where you are doing work with the sun, bringing about solar energy to things like success, clarity, prosperity, confidence, courage, creativity. Also a time of ancestral veneration, especially those of maternal lines. Offerings and celebrations around fire, bonfires are something that's common, fire offerings, herbal medicine, and divination. Some more modern things that people may have heard would be things like making candles for the association with fire, doing work with honey, spiritual baths. There are often some times where people are giving offerings to specific Orisha at this time of year. Cancer season is associated with Yemoja specifically. Community healing circles, reclaiming ancestral practices. So many practitioners see that the solstice is a time to basically return to the light, but not just physically, but culturally and spiritually. So some themes that are common across most African or African derived traditions are fire. So whether it's solar offerings, candle work, or deities that are associated with fire and lightning. Water, when we talk about cleansing or veneration, um, river offerings, things of that nature. Fertility, looking at agriculture, farming, planting, growth, and also times of initiation. The ancestors, as representing wind with communication with the divine and guidance and alignment. And then we have the ethereal, considering balancing our feminine and masculine, our light and our shadow, a time of healing through visibility, prophecy, and dreams. So, those are just some things to highlight for you. It's a little short, quick knowledge around the summer solstice, some of its traditional elements through African spiritual systems. And based on that, how do you hope to honor the summer solstice in a way that honors the energy of Estival as well as your African spiritual practice.